Hello, my dear friends. I am absolutely thrilled and excited to invite you all of you, to come on the trip to South India that Sacred Earth Journeys and I are doing in early November. I've taken many trips and many pilgrimages all over the world, but it's always this trip to South India that fills my heart with the greatest joy. And that is because I was born in South India, in Coimbatore in 1952, 70 years ago, and everything that has happened of momentous inner importance in my life has happened on my journeys of return to South India, which have been innumerable since I started going back in my early 20s. So what I'm offering you is a baptism in the profound, living, sacred world of South India. A living, sacred world which is dedicated in all of its aspects to Shiva, to the divine, and South India is called Shiva's dancing ground. A trip that will enable you, I deeply believe, to infinitely deepen your own connection with the divine, however you understand it and however you approach it, but also introduce you to the extraordinary philosophies that have incubated in South India over many millennia. What I've understood in my own journey, which has been immeasurably enriched and enhanced by what I discovered in South India, is that South India isn't just one of the last most vibrant surviving sacred worlds in which you can smell and taste the sacred on every level, in every way. It is a place in which the greatest of mystics have worked on what I call the engoldenment of humanity, the transfiguration of our current state of humanity into an embodied divine humanity. This vision has been explored by the great Shaivites, and it was explored by my great teacher, Father Bede Griffiths, whose ashram we're going to visit, who was, at the end of his life, living the transfiguration experience and transmitted its deepest secrets to me. So on this trip, I'll be sharing with you not only what each of the places that we go to signify are, I will be sharing with you the hidden secrets of the ancient Shaivite tradition as they've been transmitted to me. And I'll be sharing with you the ancient secrets of the Christian transfiguration tradition, which are deeply linked with the Shaivite tradition, that were shared with me directly from the being who completely transformed my life. And nothing gives me more excitement than sharing these secrets, which are very nuclear and very simple and will change your whole understanding of what's happening now in the world and give you the strength and the joy and the fortitude and the stamina and the peace to surrender to the vast transformation that we're living through, the global dark night that is ordained to be, I believe, in fact, I believe I know at this moment, the birthing ground of a wholly new humanity capable of co-creating with God a wholly new world. So this wild and gorgeous trip starts in Mahabalipuram, which is now a funky village by the sea, but when I first went there was a very sleepy hamlet. And in Mahabalipuram we'll contemplate the enormous, splendid, amazing sculptures that were left by the Pallava kings in the 8th to 11th centuries as a record of their experience of what I call the golden world, the world that the divine human being can create, the world that the divine human sees, and that world has never been more astoundingly represented than in the sculptures of Mahabalipuram. And it's very important that we begin there, because when we begin there, we see what this process that is now happening in our world is designed to help us create a living golden world that glows with harmony and love of the whole creation and passionate, deep love of every single aspect of life that this process is destined to divinize. We then go to Chidambaram, and Chidambaram is the home of the golden Shiva, the home of Shiva the dancer, and in Chidambaram has been guarded the secret transmission of the engoldenment process. And I will share with you the works of a great mystic, Tirumula, who was transformed there, and other great mystics like Manika Vachaga, who was transformed there, and will participate in the ceremonies of worship of the golden Shiva from this deep and transforming position and perspective. We will then go to the great home of the greatest of all modern evolutionary mystics, someone who really worked on this great transfiguration process in his own unique way, Sri Aurobindo, and whose consort, the mother, continued his absolutely amazing work after his death in the most astonishing ways, which I will share with you, and also share the work of her great disciple Satprem, and that's Pondicherry. And we will sit by Aurobindo's tomb, and we will drink in the atmosphere of this astounding work that he and the mother, and then later Satprem, did. Then we will go to Tanjore. And Tanjore is where you see the Chola culture that was between the 9th and the 13th century, the most luminous, amazing culture in which the divine and the human were profoundly integrated. And we will see the great golden temple there that symbolizes for me the new human. And we'll go to the great museum in which the most amazing of all bronzes, I think, in the world, the greatest of all bronzes, the bronzes of the Chola period, are housed, and contemplate their beauty and their revelation of a new kind of human being that I think we're all being asked to incarnate at this moment. And then we will go to the ashram of Father Bede Griffiths, where I went when I was in my early 40s and met the absolutely astounding man who became my soul's father and who gave me the map for what we're living now, and who transmitted to me the secrets of this astonishing process, because he was living it, and transmitted them to me with such tenderness and humility and precision. And being in that ashram, Father Bede left his body at the age of 87, a year after I met him, but his presence, the presence of this great prophet, seer, saint, is still very vivid there, and it is a wonderful way to really plunge into the Christian version of what the Shaivites and the Hindus worked on, because all the traditions have had this dream, and it's been realized in all of the traditions by certain very extraordinary pioneers, and Bede was and is one of them. And we end the trip by the sacred mountain of Arunachala in Tiruvannamalai, and we end it contemplating and being with Ramana Maharshi, the greatest Indian sage with Aurobindo of the 20th century, and again someone who, although he left his body in 1950, is still overwhelmingly present in his absolutely focused, clear, sweet, deep, spacious intensity of being. I have a particular love of Ramana Maharshi because my father, when he was in his 20s, was the policeman in charge of Ramana Maharshi, and Ramana loved my father and used to give him apples and bless him. And I feel very much that whatever I've been able to do in my life was, in a certain sense, inaugurated by that blessing. And then we come home, but we come home with all the golden apples that we have garnered on this amazing trip into Shiva's dancing ground. I cannot tell you how much this trip means to me personally, and I have had the joy of doing this particular pilgrimage several times in my life, and always I have found that when I enter it with total sincerity, I am taken much further in my own journey. So I do really know the potency, the amazing, divinely ordained, grace-soaked potency of the pilgrimage that I've constructed and Helen Tamai has organized so beautifully for us. I know that it will truly transform your vision of who you are, what you can be, and how you can live your deepest truth with grace in this enormously challenging time. So I invite you to it with a full heart, knowing that if you jump in and take this extraordinary opportunity and really run with it and have the grace to plunge into it with your whole being, you will be rewarded by visions and graces and empowerments that you may not now be able to imagine, but which I can promise you will arrive to you if you approach this trip with the kind of sincerity that a real seeker has. So, my friends, please join Helen Tamai's Sacred Earth Journeys and me, Andrew Harvey, on the journey to South India, to Shiva's dancing ground. You'll find it on the Sacred Earth Journeys website, and I will be absolutely thrilled to meet you and give you everything that I have learned at 70 on my own search to birth the divine human in myself. Thank you so much.